Well, we start this out with the match which Pep Guardiola believes is a cup final to decide who will win the Premier League. League leaders Arsenal travel to the Etihad to face a Manchester City side who will become the favourites to win the league if they take all 3 points. The stakes couldn't be higher as the two best teams in the country battle this one out. We've been with both managers today. Gary Cottrell has been with Mikel Arteta. Ben Ransom has been speaking to Pep Guardiola. Ben, let's come to you first. I mean, to say plenty at stake, I mean, what an understatement that is. But as far as Manchester City are concerned, no margin for error in this one, is there?
You only have to consider the outcomes here. If City win against Arsenal, first of all, it adds more to the noise around them that they are falling apart at the wrong part of this season, going out of the FA Cup, losing in the League Cup final, obviously still in the Champions League, but surrendering that huge league in the Premier League. It would be down to just 3 points. City would have a game in hand versus an Arsenal win, and all of a sudden that noise changes completely. They're back on form. They're in a Champions League semi-final. They'd be 9 points clear at the top of the Premier League table. So everything is at stake at the Etihad at the weekend. So you can understand why for Manchester City, for Pep Guardiola, it is absolutely must win if they're to think and dream about becoming Premier League champions again.
If we lose, yeah, it's over. But the other two results, knowing that Arsenal didn't win Bournemouth, still have games to play. 6 games is a lot in our calendar, especially. It's terrible. We say in the, Everton away, Bournemouth away, Aston Villa the last game at home. Apart of course Barley's and Crystal Palace and Brentford's at home. So Crystal Palace, look what's going on. Aston Villa and Crystal Palace in Europe. So still many things to do. The reality is that 7 games left for us and in the Premier League, and that is the decisive moment.
You spoke after the Carabao Cup final about the fact you were underdogs and that everyone expected Arsenal to win. I just wonder this weekend, given your home record, all the experience you've got, you're in front of your own fans, are you underdogs this weekend?
I understand your message, but I would not feel when I had the same opinion. Maybe we are not I don't know, they are not the best. Mikel said, after the game in Champions League, that the only English team is qualifying the Champions League. So at the end, it was unbeaten still in the Champions League. And there are many games so far in the Premier League at the first. So they have been the best so far. So, but we wanna challenge them.
So Pep expecting this game to effectively decide the title, and after it there'll be either 3 or still 6 or 9 points behind Arsenal, and still with a game in hand, but vastly differing scenarios there, Gary. What about Mikel Arteta? Is he thinking along the same lines? Is this effectively being a title decider?
David, I'm nothing to do with Arsenal. I'm not a part of the Arsenal team, the Arsenal management, the Arsenal setup here down at the training ground. I'm not an Arsenal fan, but even I'm nervous because this is such a massive game. Mikel Arteta is doing his best at his news conference not to show any nerves. He was so relaxed, or trying to come across as so relaxed. Even a couple of light-hearted moments. He was setting fires down here at the training ground earlier in the week ahead of the Sporting Lisbon Champions League game. The theme of that game, he always has a theme for a game to just try and give his players a little bit extra to play for, to inspire them. The theme of that game was fire, not fear. Well, the theme for this game, we don't know what it is. He's keeping that secret, but it certainly isn't fire. He's not fanning the flames at all about this being a winner-take-all game. Is it the biggest game he's ever been involved in at Arsenal? He wasn't joining in that one either. He wouldn't use the P word for pressure. The P word he was using was privilege. It's a privilege to be at this stage in the season and taking on one of the best teams in the title race.
It's certainly the most important one because it's the next one. So we have earned the right to be in this position, to be challenging, and with the possibility to win and the opportunity to win on Sunday, arguably against the best team and the best manager that this league has ever seen. And that's a huge privilege. And we cannot wait to play the game. We're going to prepare the game to win it, that's for sure. And we see that as a big opportunity for us.
Obviously, a draw would be enough to make sure it was still in your own hands.
We're not going to spend 1 second talking about that. We prepare every game to win. That's why we are where we are, and we're going to continue to do the same.
Who's under more pressure on Sunday? You, because you're out in front, you've been out in front for a long time, or City because they're trying to catch you?
Who is more privileged to be in this position? I think that's the question.
Okay, who's more privileged to be in this position?
I don't know. I feel very privileged, so I don't know how Pep or Man City I feel. I feel very privileged to have earned the right to be in this position to play such a big and great game.
So what they've been in this position before, haven't they? Remember, 3 times in a row, Arsenal finished second in the Premier League. Manchester City, though, clicking into gear at just the right time, Ben. If they go on and win the title, how would this rank in terms of Pep Guardiola's illustrious career as a manager?
It's so hard to say because it would be quite a unique one. I think back to some of the previous title races they had with Liverpool, specifically that 2018-19 title race. Liverpool shot off like a train at the start of the season. There was that game, again, it was a decisive game here at the Etihad. Admittedly, it was earlier on in the season itself, but there was that huge gap that could have extended, I think it was up to 11 or 12 points at the time. City won, though, cut the gap, and ultimately went on to overhaul Liverpool right at the end of the run-in. Well, this one feels a little bit similar, albeit we're further down the line. City have closed in, there's no doubt about it. Pep obviously had that trophyless season last year, which hurt him so much, hurt the group so much. They really wanted to bounce back and reinvigorate themselves this year, which they've done, winning the Carabao Cup and staying in the title race. Still the possibility for City to win a domestic treble, which when you consider some of the low moments they've had during this campaign, that feels remarkable. But Pep has built some great teams. There was that Centurion season, 2017-18, his first title, 100 points, unmatched as of yet in the Premier League. The 4 Premier League titles in a row, some incredible teams, campaigns, players. The treble springs to mind as well, 2023. But for Pep Guardiola, he's not quite had this kind of rebirth, regeneration mid-season to catch someone who's been so far ahead. The team, he says, have been the best in Europe. So, understandably, he was asked today where it would rank. And would it indeed be his greatest Premier League title at Manchester City?
No. The greatest has done. For many new players, it's good to be in that position to learn, for all of us, to learn for the future, for the next seasons. To be there, and especially after many years, especially with many titles, and being still in the title race a little bit, it's good, really good, but it's not the greatest achievement.
And you've mentioned Jurgen Klopp has always been the reference point, but how much has Mikel Arteta pushed you this season? How hard have you had to work to stay in contention?
Absolutely, the last 2-3 seasons. It's already many years there, and every season is getting better and better. So I think we took over the club and was in problems and troubles, and step by step. And of course, last season, Liverpool make an incredible 3/4 of the season that was unstoppable. But the previous one and this season, Arsenal have been the biggest contender.
It might still be a couple of days away, but make no mistake, Manchester, certainly the blue side, is more than ready for this game at the weekend. There is a real palpable excitement all around the city. Everyone's talking about this match because it is so pivotal. In terms of team news for Manchester City, it was quite brief and simple from Pep Guardiola on that front today. Ruben Diaz, a huge figure and character in the dressing room, still out. He won't make it back in time for the game on Sunday. But there was a boost in the form of Nico O'Reilly, who went off in the last game against Chelsea for an unspecified reason. Pep said quite simply, he'll be fine. Arsenal won't be pleased to hear that, given he scored both goals at Wembley.
Yeah, very true. And in fact, in terms of the meetings, there was that recent one at Wembley. Just under a month ago. And of course, at the Emirates, it was 1-1. But if we think about this fixture last season, Gary, a few things to mention. Late John Stones equaliser, bit of aggro, and perhaps one of the most sort of famous 3-word memes that have come up in recent years in the Premier League. Tell us more.
Yeah, of course, it was a 2-2 draw, wasn't it? It seems quite a long time ago, doesn't it? Because it was at the beginning of last season, as now, of course, they go to the Etihad Arsenal at the end of this season. But yeah, it's memorable, particularly for the Erling Haaland on Mikel Arteta moment, the stay humble instruction. Mikel Arteta says he hasn't spoken to Pep Guardiola about that. He hasn't spoken to Erling Haaland about that. He wasn't particularly bothered about it. He said, listen, we're called a lot worse things than that.
Did you ever speak to him about it? Or Pep?
If I have to talk about all the things that have been said on the pitch, I think we'll have some big meetings.
But it's quite unusual for a player to say
No. Not that much. Don't worry, the mics are coming in football, I don't know when, so that's one of the nicest things that you can get told.
Stay humble, maybe. Staying in the title race hot seat is the main priority, though. There'll be no Bukayo Saka again, still not fit enough to be involved in this match. So obviously that's a bit of a blow for Arsenal fans. Noni Madueke, who will play in that position if available, does look like he might be involved. He came off, of course, in that Champions League game in midweek. Mikel Arteta was saying that they were hopeful that he could be involved. As for Calafiori, Odegaard and Timber, still another training session to go. What he usually says, let's see, as far as they're concerned, what he usually says.
Indeed, Gary Cottrell there with Arsenal and Ben Ransom with Manchester City.